If you have been following the news lately, you've probably heard about all the unrest that has been happening in the Eastern Congo. You've probably heard the words M23, Rwanda, Uganda, Kagame thrown around a lot. And you've probably asked yourself what all that bloodshed and strife is about anyway. The first thing you need to know is that the Eastern Congo has been at war with itself for almost 30 years now. Millions of people have died during that time. Hundreds of armed groups roam the countryside, fighting for land, power, and control over the region's vast mineral wealth. Every few years, a new peace deal is signed. Politicians shake hands, but within months, the fighting resumes. Why? Some say it's ancient tribal hatred, ethnic groups locked in a never-ending struggle for dominance. Others blame the Congolese government, too weak to enforce order. And then, of course, there's money. A war fueled by greed and the billions of dollars in gold, coltan, and diamonds flowing through the region. So, which one is it? Ethnic violence, state failure, or war for profit? The truth is, it's all three. This is the story of why the war in the Eastern Congo never ends. To understand why the Congo is still at war, we need to go back to a fault line created by colonialism, genocide, and migration. At the heart of it is a single question: who really belongs in the Congo? The biggest ethnic question? The Banyarwanda question. The Banyarwanda are a community of Kinyarwanda-speaking people living in Eastern Congo's North Kivu province. They've been there for generations. Some migrated into what is now the DRC way before Belgian colonial rule. Some settled during Belgian colonial rule, and others arrived as refugees from Rwanda during the 1960s and 70s. But many Congolese see them as foreigners, outsiders who don't belong. Within the Banyarwanda, there are two main groups: Hutus, who make up the majority; Tutsis, a smaller but historically dominant minority. Then there's the Banyamulenge, a distinct Tutsi subgroup living in the Mulenge region in Eastern Congo's South Kivu province. They speak the Kinyamulenge dialect, which is closely related to the Kinyarwanda language. Despite having settled in this area in the 18th and 19th centuries, they too are seen as foreigners by most Congolese. What makes both groups foreign in the eyes of a large number of other Congolese is the fact that they are of Rwandan descent. Ever since the DRC's independence from Belgium, successive Congolese governments have often denied both the Banyarwanda and the Banyamulenge citizenship. That has often led to tensions between these groups and local populations. This tension exploded in the 1990s, after the Rwandan genocide. When the genocide ended, hundreds of thousands of Hutu refugees, many of them genocidaires, fled into the Congo. Among them were the killers who had carried out the Rwandan genocide. They weren't just running for their lives, they were preparing for war. From their refugee camps, these Hutu extremists reorganized into militias like the FDLR, vowing to continue their war against the Tutsis. But their first targets were not in Rwanda. They began by attacking Tutsi communities inside the Congo, massacring entire villages. They went after both the Banyamulenge Tutsis in South Kivu and the Banyarwanda Tutsis in North Kivu. In their twisted minds, they were just continuing their Tutsi cleansing operation on Congolese soil. They also attacked other local Congolese groups so as to gain access to more land and minerals. And with time, they began launching cross-border raids into Rwanda itself. This triggered a brutal cycle of revenge. Tutsi-led militias, like the Banyamulenge rebels in South Kivu, rose up to defend themselves. Rwanda, under Paul Kagame, sent its army into the Congo to crush the genocide days. Many Banyarwanda Hutus who had nothing to do with the genocide also found themselves in the crossfire. But Rwanda's intervention led to even more chaos, as other local Congolese tribes formed new nationalist militias that hated everything Rwandan and wanted all Congolese of Rwandan descent ejected from the country. Today, Hutu militias like the FDLR are still active in vast areas of the Eastern Congo. Meanwhile, Tutsi-led groups like the M23 claim they are fighting to protect their people. But they are not the only ones involved. Other Congolese ethnic groups like the Nande, Hunde, and Nyanga see the Banyarwanda and the Banyamulenge as a threat. They have formed Mai Mai militias, armed groups that target both Hutus and Tutsis alike. The result? Endless massacres, revenge killings, and a war that keeps feeding itself. Ethnic hatred alone doesn't explain why this war has lasted so long. In a functioning country, the government would step in and stop the bloodshed. But this is the Congo. The truth is, the Congolese government barely exists out in the east. Thanks to Mobutu's mismanagement and corruption, the state's authority in the east collapsed in the 1990s, and it has never recovered. The national army, the FARDC, is underpaid, corrupt, and deeply divided. Many FARDC officers are not professional soldiers. They are former warlords who were simply integrated into the army after signing peace deals. And instead of fighting the rebels, some army units work with them, smuggling minerals, running illegal businesses, and even selling weapons to the militias they are supposed to fight. The government in Kinshasa, the capital, is too weak to do anything about it. The Eastern Congo is nearly 2,000 kilometers away from Kinshasa, and for decades, the central government has barely controlled it. Because of institutionalized corruption, it cannot pay for the administrative machinery needed to bring back order out in the east. Once in a while, it just puts up a show by going on the offensive against the odd rebel group or two. But in the end, it really can't rein in the more powerful groups. With no strong state, local warlords, armed groups, and foreign powers have stepped in to fill the power vacuum. This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle: greed. The Eastern Congo is home to some of the richest mineral deposits in the world. Gold, tin, tungsten, and coltan, all essential for smartphones, laptops, and electric cars, are abundant in the Eastern Congo. These minerals are worth billions of dollars, and almost every armed group in the region is fighting for a share. The FDLR, M23, Mai Mai militias, even the Congolese army itself, all of them are involved in the looting. Foreign governments like Rwanda and Uganda also play a role. They officially deny it, but multiple reports show that they profit from smuggling Congo's minerals into their own countries, selling them onto the global market. And the biggest buyers, multinational corporations, and hundreds, possibly thousands of other sinister people and groups with close ties to international black markets. As long as war makes money, peace will never come. So, why does the war in the Congo never end? Because it's not just one problem. Ethnic hatred keeps the killing going. State collapse makes it possible. Mineral wealth makes it profitable. The war isn't just chaos, it's a system that benefits warlords, corrupt politicians, foreign governments, and multinational companies. And until that system is dismantled, the war will never stop. The real question is, who actually wants peace? If you found this video informative, hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into African history and conflicts. And let us know in the comments, what do you think is the biggest reason why the Congo War never ends?